Welcome to Bible Bell Bros Podcast, everyone. I am your host, Andrew, and with me, as always, Dusty Hope.
This is your first ever introing a podcast. I think you're suspended.
It's not my first ever.
I think this is the first one you started.
No, go to the older ones, bro.
Okay.
I would intro those, some of those.
Sure. I'm free to disagree.
Yeah, we're just going to have to disagree on that one. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. We've got quite a few things to go over. However, first, we got to talk about Dusty's new dog.
Yeah. Talked about it last week on the podcast, but Darcy, new Australian mixed puppy, she's doing really well. If you hear any squeaky toys, it's because my wife was smart and bought a squeaky toy for her.
All my dogs say.
That's
Dusty and I are doing this new recording thing.
Yeah, Andrew just doesn't want to come over anymore, so.
It's not that. I'll come over. You just don't ever invite me or tell me when. Or I'm out of town. And so
Andrew got a new mic for his Fortnite buddies, and so we're testing it out with the podcast today. So
that's right. So you guys are lucky.
It feels like you're here. We're doing it through video, which is weird. So now I'm seeing my reflection.
Right.
Realize I still kind of have a double chin, so I shouldn't have shaved.
So, speaking of shaving, I got pampered today at my barber place or haircut place. That was quite nice. I finally learned felt what it's like to be you on a daily basis. Being a girl and all.
Being a girl? Yeah, get your nails done.
I didn't do that. No. I did get my hands paraffin waxed, though, so they're super soft. It's quite nice.
That's pretty cool.
It is. So, guys, I'm actually at work right now. So if you ever see me look off in the distance, I'm looking at towards the front door, making sure people can't come in or aren't coming in.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to post a video of this, but maybe.
You may as well try out our YouTube also.
This is weird. It's not like my lighting is terrible.
Right, so is mine. I tried to turn the light on above me. I have these windows, these big windows right here. So this side of my face is bright, but this side is dark.
Yeah. Well,
I got to stop hitting the table. This is weird.
Yeah. You're
causing a lot of extra
You're being
sound.
Noisy. So is Darcy over there. She's got two toys in her mouth at this moment. Okay, so today, Andrew, let's talk about, we have a listener email, Facebook message.
Wait, we have listeners?
We do have listeners, and
dude, you told me we didn't.
Well, I didn't want you to get nervous.
Oh crap!
In front of people. So
now, I don't know what to say.
This is our only listener. All right.
Oh, okay, that's better.
Yeah, and we don't know him, and apparently he lives a very long ways away. So
how far away?
I don't know the mileage. Google directions. Well, I'll just read it. You'll figure it out. Hey, bros! I like that he used the word bros.
That's right, Bible Belt Bros.
Sticking with the podcast theme. All right. Hey, bros. Sending love from Melbourne, Australia.
What?
I know. We actually are outside of Oklahoma a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lisa and I want to move to Australia someday.
I've probably driven by this, or not, I didn't drive. I probably rode by this guy's house because I was in Melbourne, Australia 15 years ago on a little singing tour thing. Little nerdy Christian thing. But yeah, okay, bro, sending love from Melbourne, Australia. I stumbled upon your podcast a few months back. I really enjoyed the discussion on Frank Viola's Pagan Christianity, which is what we started 3 years ago talking about. And he said, I've been becoming Christian 3 years now, but I've struggled getting comfortable with the mainstream church system. Much prefer house church. Anyways, it was interesting to hear what you guys had to say. You should do another book. There's an exclamation at that. Keep up the good work.
We should do another book.
Thanks, Brett. Shout out to Brett from Melbourne, Australia.
What's going on, Brett? Thank you so much. You are amazing. Dusty gets that reference.
Yeah, he does that on his Fortnite stream all the time. How do I get back to you, Andrew? Where are you at? Oh, you're over here. Oh. Okay, so, the Pagan Christianity book. It's been about 3 years.
Since we talked about Frankie.
Since we started a podcast, just kind of, talking through the book Frank Viola's Pagan Christianity.
I've gained a lot of weight in that 3 years.
You've gained a lot of weight? Yeah, I have too. I've been losing it, but I did gain a lot of weight in that prospect, I read that those years. But we haven't done another book, and it's amazing to me as I look through our analytics, Andrew, that there's still people finding us and listening to those Pagan Christianity podcast episodes, which in 3 years we have like 35 episodes. It's pretty pretty bad.
10 episodes a year.
That's why we have to do it on video. Maybe we'll be more productive in our podcasting.
More consistent.
More consistent, yes. And so Pagan Christianity was a book, if you haven't listened, or it's been 3 years since you've listened to it, just comparing the mainstream church as we practice today with what we see biblically and stuff like that. And it took the very extreme other side of it, where there should be no big churches, there should only be house churches and no pastors and all that kind of stuff. And it's a very insightful, very good book.
Did it really say we shouldn't do that? Because didn't the book really just talk about how they originally did it?
Are we gonna have to go through the book again?
I think we are.
No, there was. I think it was just more saying like the structure of the mainstream church when you have a pastor who's basically the priest, who we are learning about God through instead of taking. What he's saying is, as Christians, really, we should be taking more ownership over our spirituality. Like we don't need a pastor to tell us what God wants us to do. We have direct access to God. We're all priests. We all have the priesthood. And so a lot of times now I feel like we're like the Israelites, where we've gone back, and even though God's right there, we still try to look this other direction and find maybe what's this guy say God wants? Because if you listen to pastors all over the place, they're going to disagree about what God is saying about specific verses. And so,
or specific topics,
or
like
specific,
drinking.
yeah. So yeah, I think he's more like and I talked about practicing kind of stuff in Pagan Christianity was talking about, when it comes to the house church meetings and how that should be. And some of those have been really good. Some of them I haven't really done because it's just too much work. It's too much work to practice Christianity the way they practice it in the Bible. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, but see, to them it wasn't.
I think that's why the mainstream Sunday morning big church kind of thing is what Americans are popular to. Yeah, it's because we can not have to read our Bible all week, and I can just show up on Sunday and get that feeding,
No, because you still should be reading your Bible every day.
Well, I know, but I'm saying we feel like we don't have to. Okay, let's just move on. So we haven't really started another book. We thought about it. There was a book, I think I suggested to him, that kind of is a follow-up to Pagan Christianity. It is called... Oh, I just told him, I was like, the biggest thing for me is I don't want to come off as anti-church. That's what I responded to him. I just think that we're missing out on the fullness of what the church can bring and the house churches can do. So there's a book called Unchurching by Richard Jacobson is what I suggested to him, where Pagan Christianity was more of the historical changes in the church that's happened throughout the years with Constantine and instituting a structure. Unchurching is more of the biblical side of it. And so I just told him, hey, if you want to check out a book, read that one. We have thought about doing that, but I think we're deciding against it because we don't want to come off too cynical and too I don't know, but at the same time, it's been 3 years. So who knows? It might be a good topic to rediscuss, especially since a lot of things have changed in our since that podcast has started. One thing was I remember that there's a podcast about not having a church building and why it's not important, and we were like, oh, we don't have a church building, we meet in a school, yada yada, and then a few months later we moved into a building.
Yes. And we're buying more buildings and expanding into more buildings.
Yeah, so that was kind of a funny, interesting thing. So maybe there is a little bit of revisiting. Plus, I hate the fact that people are listening to those podcasts when it was when we were just learning how to podcast. And so
right. I didn't know what to say.
Audio stupid, or I ranted so much like I'm ranting right now. And So I'm like, man, should we just re-record those? But I don't know. People are liking it still, so whatever. Thanks for tuning in still 3 years later for those of you that have been with us since the beginning.
But really, it's not 3 years for them. It's, a
30
couple days. Yeah, 30 episodes. That's crazy.
It's probably pretty close to 40. I stopped numbering them. It's like, what's the point? It's like more depressing. Like, episode 5.
We've been at it for 6 months. Yeah. Episode 5.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
This was supposed to be like a once a week thing.
I know. We were just going to keep going. Well, once we finished the book, we kind of lost our identity a little bit. Like, what do we do now?
All right.
So I think now we're just focusing on just still some church topics and stuff, but also just trying to have a good time and clean Christian conversations, I guess, about the world and life and love and happiness.
Yep.
And video games and gambling.
Games occasionally. It's just gambling. That's right.
Yeah.
How are you doing on that gambling?
I'm down pretty much. The wife hasn't said anything yet about the amount of money I've lost, so.
So it's time to quit.
Gosh, hold up. We trained my dog to ring a bell when she needs to go outside, so it's ringing, so I better go. I'll be right back. I'll pause this. Okay, sorry about that. We trained our dog to ring a doorbell bell thing. It's not a doorbell. It's just a bell right beside the door. And then she was ringing it and was barking at it. And I was like, oh, crap. And so supposedly she went straight pee right away. So,
well, that's good.
That's a good sign.
I have a friend who did that, and he regrets it because whenever she wants to go out, she'll just go over there and ring the doorbell and doesn't necessarily have to use the restroom, just wants to go outside.
Yeah, so that is a negative that can happen for sure. Just maybe I need a fence.
Maybe
you can help me build that fence, Andrew.
Maybe not.
Come on. Okay, so we lost our show notes because I had to end that. I'm sorry about that.
Way to go, Dusty. We're talking about kind of where you're at. I forget. Sorry. If you can't tell, I'm playing a game right now.
Oh, you're playing Clash of Clans.
I am. So if
Andrew's always a gamer.
Yeah, that's what gamers do, bro. They game. What do you expect us to do, bro?
And so we're talking about house church. We're talking about the book. So let's just kind of move on to the next topic.
Speaking of house church, how's your house church going?
Well, I guess Andrew thinks that everybody in the world should know, apparently, because we're worldwide, that my house church is dissolved as of a couple weeks ago.
What?
Well, just people's lives change. People have kids. Our house church was meeting at night, and so it just doesn't make sense for somebody to keep their baby up and then, all night long.
Listen.
So I know parenting styles can be different or whatever, but I wasn't going to expect that upon them, and felt like though they said that they they wanted to keep going. I could just feel the fatigue in their faces, and just even how their daughter was just kind of more fussy than normal after Wednesday for them getting to bed. That I just said, hey, let's not force a relationship here. Life's change, and so I think we're changing. And also, they lived 20 minutes from us. We had another couple that lived 20 minutes from us they're going in to celebrate recovery together, which is awesome. And so I'm going to support that and help them kind of help heal their relationship. I think everybody should be in celebrate recovery or at least go through it once. But we're all on the road to recovery, Andrew. That's the whole point.
So, how's your, I invited you to a Bible study a couple weeks ago. How's that going?
Oh, gosh. So I was wondering if you ever were going to say anything about this, because I did pretty good for like the first couple days.
Couple days? It's been a couple weeks, bro.
Oh, man. For the first couple days, I was doing it, and it's stupid because it's all on my phone.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I was just rushing through it and not like putting time in it, and then I just ended up not doing it. And then I haven't done it in so long. I don't even know what study you guys are doing at this point.
So, bro.
I know it's a new one. So
is it too much God? Is that what
I think so. Like I was doing a little Bible study with my wife also at the time, and we're doing a little one now too. And it was like, I can't do 2 Bible studies a day. That's ridiculous. That's just too much. Too much
God, huh?
Too much good things, good vibes.
So you quit the Bible study. You quit house
Well,
church.
I'm still at.
What else you quit? I didn't see a church this week.
I was at Silver Dollar City. Okay, family, seeing family.
And where were you last week?
Babysitting my dog.
Yeah. And the week before? Yeah,
I was there the week before.
Okay. Where are you going to be this Sunday? Babysitting your dog again?
No, we'll be at church this Sunday.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Uh-huh. So, that's my life, Andrew. House church dissolved. Babysitting dogs, more important than going to church.
Too much God.
And then there's, just balance, I guess. Last week on the podcast I had been on, you were gone. And just want to reiterate how important Celebrate Recovery is if you haven't been involved. It's a good thing. And just bringing it back up because the couple in our house church that decided to go that route. And I think everybody should really look into it. Just everybody's kind of on a road of redemption or freedom from sin. And that's a good start for everybody to go to something like that.
Don't tell me what I'm on the road to do.
Have you gone to that kind of, Andrew? Have you gone to one of those?
Nope. I have not.
Do you have any hurts, habits, or hang-ups in your life?
You. Can I quit you?
I was going to say the same thing about you, so I guess maybe if we just quit each other. No, you're here all the time.
Actually, I haven't come over in a minute.
Andrew, you're just one of those people that you're always going to be in my life. It doesn't matter what I do, what I say.
You're welcome.
Or how I act, you're just always going to be there. You're like a
herpes.
Andrew, yes. That's a good one. Yeah. You don't always want it.
But I'm always there.
I guess that's a good spot to end it, Andrew. Andrew's like herpes. And
Dusty has herpes.
And I can't get rid of it. So, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a good week.
Later.
La la.